This is Unfiltered Everyday Shit. I'm India Sherelle. This podcast is a space for real conversations about life as it's actually happening. The good, the bad, and everything in between. It's unfiltered, it's honest, and it's unapologetic. Some episodes are reflective, some are raw. So, let's talk about it. Welcome. I'm your host, India Sherelle. This episode came to me quietly. Not from a breakdown, not from a fight, not from me sitting in my feelings too long. It came from me noticing myself responding differently to my life. It came from me noticing myself responding differently to my life. I've always said that you are the person in charge of creating the life you want. I've said it for years. I said it to other people all the time. And sometimes, if I'm being honest, it's easier to say that out loud than it is to actually live it when you're in season where something feels missing. Lately, what's been missing for me hasn't been ambition or purpose or clarity. It's been social connection, real connection, the kind that doesn't feel forced or scheduled or tied to one person. And I caught myself sitting in that awareness, not complaining about it, just noticing it when something simple happened. I was at the bank handling business, getting my account set up, talking about my podcast, my plans, my future, and somehow the conversation shifted. She mentioned pottery, and I stopped her and asked, "Do you offer classes?" Not even thinking too deeply about it, just instinct. She told me no, but she told me where she could. She told me no, but she told me where she goes. She gave me the information, and when I got back in my car, I laughed to myself. Because that was it. That was the answer. It wasn't missing people. Because that was it. That was the answer. I wasn't missing people. I was missing environments. I wasn't lonely. I was understimulated in the ways that mattered to me. I've always liked creative things, pottery, blown glass, working with my hands, slow spaces, focused spaces, spaces where people are present. And instead of sitting around wishing my social life looked better, I realized I could just go where people like me are. That's when it hit me. This is what it actually means to create your own life. Not waiting for friends to show up, not expecting one person to meet every need, not sitting in frustration and calling it patience, but making a decision that says, I'm going to place myself in rooms that support who I am becoming. I didn't need a big plan. I didn't need permission. I didn't need the perfect timing. I just needed to move. And the truth is, when you start doing that, when you start choosing environments that match you, things begin to balance themselves out. The pressure lifts because you no longer asking one situation, one relationship, or one season to give you everything. You're giving yourself options. And I think that's what clarity really is. It's not having all the answers. It's knowing when to create a new doorway instead of standing in front of a closed one. So, if you're listening to this and you've been feeling like something is missing, I want you to ask yourself this. Not what's wrong with your life. So if you're listening to this and you've been feeling like something is missing, I want you to ask yourself this. Not what's wrong with your life, but what environment are you not in right now that your soul has been asking for? Is it a class, a hobby, a space where people gather around something they love? Because chances are The connection you're craving isn't gone. It's just waiting in the room you haven't walked into yet. And sometimes choosing yourself looks as simply as signing up. If you're craving spaces that match who you're becoming, you can book a clarity call with me. We'll talk through where you are and what you're building next. Sometimes talking it out loud is the doorway. So, I'll leave you with this. Clarity isn't about fixing what feels off. It's about realizing you're allowed to build something new. You don't have to wait to be chosen. You don't have to wait to be invited. You're allowed to place yourself where your life can expand. And sometimes that's how things quietly start to come full circle. And with that, I want to leave you with something to think about. What social environment in your life has shifted or no longer exists? And what kind of space can you intentionally create now that supports who you are and how you need to connect today? Well, that's it for today. That was just me talking it out loud. Remember, this podcast is just freedom. This is me. It's an outlet. It's a voice. It's somewhere I can just speak freely. Thanks for stopping by, and thanks for listening.